Captain Lee Daho stood in the massive council chamber on Nexus Prime. The ceiling stretched high above him, filled with floating screens showing alien faces from across the galaxy. Thousands of different species looked down at him with cold eyes. He wore his best uniform, the dark blue fabric, crisp and clean. The golden stars on his shoulders caught the bright lights. Behind him sat his people. Dr. Park So-jin gripped her datapad tight. Engineer Kim Tae-won stared at the alien technology around them with anger in his eyes. Diplomat Choi Mina whispered prayers under her breath. They all knew this day would come, but hoping and knowing were different things. The Velthari ambassador floated in the center of the chamber. Its long, thin body moved like smoke in a glass tube filled with green gas. When it spoke, the words came out sharp and cold through the translation system. "The evidence is clear," the Velthari said. "The Korean colony of New Seoul has shown dangerous Deathworlder behavior. They have taken 3 worlds that no civilized species could survive on. They have built cities where others would die. They grow food in soil that would poison normal beings." Daiho wanted to speak, but the rules said he must wait. The Velthari continued its attack on his people. Look at their military records. In the border conflict with the Sektar pirates, 1 human ship fought off 12 enemy vessels. 12. This level of violence is not normal. It threatens the peace we have built. More alien voices joined in. The Zephyrian delegate spoke next, its voice sounding like wind through metal tubes. They terraform worlds in decades that should take centuries. They change the very nature of planets to suit their needs. This shows a lack of respect for natural order. The Aquatic Collective's representative bobbed in its water tank. Their expansion rate exceeds all safety limits. They claim 3 new systems every standard year. At this pace, they will control vast regions of space. Dr. So-jin passed a note to Daho. It read, "They fear us because we succeed where they fail." The vote began. One by one, the alien faces on the screens made their choice. Red lights meant expulsion. Green lights meant the Koreans could stay. The first 100 votes were almost all red. Daho watched his people's faces fall as the numbers climbed higher. "Vote count," announced the chamber's computer in its flat, emotionless voice. 847 for expulsion, 23 for continued membership. The motion passes. Silence filled the huge room. Then the chief arbiter, an ancient being that looked like a tree made of crystal, spoke in its slow, deep voice. "The Galactic Federation hereby revokes the membership of the Korean Colonial Union. You have 72 standard hours to leave all Federation space. Any Korean vessels found in Federation territory after this deadline will be treated as hostile." Now Daho could speak. He stepped forward, his boots echoing on the smooth floor. Every alien eye turned to him. "Honored members of the Federation," he began, his voice steady and strong. "You call us dangerous because we survive where you cannot. You call us violent because we defend ourselves when attacked. You call us too ambitious because we build homes on worlds you think are impossible to live on." He looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. "My people came to the stars 200 years ago. We were farmers and engineers, teachers and doctors. We never wanted to conquer anyone. We only wanted to grow crops and raise our children under alien suns. When the pirates came, we fought back because no one else would help us. When worlds were too hot or too cold or too dangerous, we made them work because we had nowhere else to go." The chamber stayed silent. Some aliens looked uncomfortable now. "You say we are Deathworlders like it is a curse word?" "Yes, we come from a world that tries to kill everything on it. Storms that can destroy cities, earthquakes that split the ground open, diseases that spread like fire. But that world also taught us to work together. It taught us to never give up. It taught us that life finds a way." His voice grew stronger. "You are afraid of what we might become, but you do not see what we already are. We are builders. We are healers. We are the people who plant gardens in the ashes after the fire burns out. We have never asked for your approval to survive." "Engineer?" Taiwan smiled for the first time in weeks. Dr. So-jin wiped tears from her eyes. So we will leave your Federation. We will take our dangerous ideas and our violent ways and our impossible dreams. But remember this day. Remember that you had the chance to learn from us instead of fearing us. Remember that you chose to cast out people whose only crime was being too good at staying alive. The crystal tree being leaned forward. Your time starts now, Captain Lee. 72 hours. We will be gone in 71, Daeho replied. The Korean delegation left the chamber with their heads held high. Outside, their ship waited among hundreds of others in the massive spaceport. The Hanbok's Dream was not the biggest ship there, but it was home to 50,000 people who had nowhere else to go. In the ship's command center, Daeho looked at his senior staff. Send word to all Korean vessels. We leave Federation space in 3 days. Set course for the Rim territories. Sir, asked Communications Officer Bae Sung-min, where exactly are we going? Daeho stared out at the stars beyond the space station. Somewhere out there was a place for his people. It had to be. Away from here, he said. And toward whatever comes next. The great ship's engines came to life. One by one, the Korean fleet prepared to jump into hyperspace, heading for the unknown edge of the galaxy where outcasts and exiles made their homes. 6 months in the void between stars had changed everything. Major Yoon Jae-sung walked through the corridors of the Hanbok's Dream and saw the strain on every face he passed. Children who used to laugh and play now stayed close to their parents. Adults moved with the careful steps of people who knew food might run out tomorrow. The ship's lights were dimmer now to save power. Half the recreation areas had been converted to storage for supplies they could not find or afford. The smell of recycled air hung heavy everywhere, mixed with the sharp scent of the cleaning chemicals they used to stretch their water reserves. Major, we have another problem, called engineer Kang Hyo-jin from across the maintenance bay. She was Captain Daeho's daughter, but no one gave her special treatment. At 25, she had already proven herself as one of their best technical minds. Her hands were covered in grease from working on systems that should have been replaced months ago. What is it this time? Jae-sung asked, though he already knew it would be bad news. Everything was bad news these days. The hyperspace generator is running hot again. We are pushing it too hard with all these emergency jumps. If we do not give it a full maintenance cycle soon, it might fail completely. Jae-sung felt his stomach drop. Without hyperspace capability, they would be stuck in normal space, moving so slowly it would take years to reach anywhere safe. How long do we have? Maybe 2 more jumps. 3 if we are very lucky. In the hydroponics section, Nam Yoonji worked over rows of vegetables growing under artificial lights. She was one of the few people on the ship who still smiled, but even her face showed the weight of their situation. The plants looked healthy, but there were not enough of them to feed 50,000 people. The soybeans are doing well, she told Dr. Park So-jin during their daily meeting, but we lost another section of rice to the fungal infection. I have been trying to save what I can, but our medicine supplies are running low. Dr. So-jin nodded and made notes on her tablet. How long can we maintain current food levels? 6 weeks, maybe 7 if we cut rations again. The children are already too thin. I know, but if we do not cut rations, we will all starve in 5 weeks instead of 7. On the bridge, Communications Officer Bae Sung-min listened to radio chatter from across the galaxy. Most of it was routine trade talk and news broadcasts, but sometimes he heard things that made his blood run cold. Captain, he called to Daeho, who stood looking out at the stars. I am picking up another warning broadcast. The Federation is telling all systems in the Outer Rim to refuse us landing rights. Daeho closed his eyes for a moment. Which systems? Kepler Station, New Geneva, the Tau Ceti colonies. Sir, that is every major refueling stop in this sector. 3 times they had tried to settle somewhere new. 3 times the local governments had turned them away before they could even land. The first time had been polite refusal. The second time, they were met by armed patrol ships. The third time, the Mai planetary defense grid had powered up and aimed weapons at them. Sir, called Lieutenant Park Min-ho from the sensor station, we have contacts approaching. Multiple ships moving fast. The main screen lit up with red dots moving toward them. 12 ships in attack formation, closing fast. Sector pirates, Jae-sung said, reading the ship signatures. The same group that has been hunting us for weeks. Battle stations, Dae-ho ordered calmly. Alarms rang throughout the ship. People ran to emergency positions they knew too well. The children were moved to the center of the ship where the armor was thickest. In the weapon control rooms, Korean, military personnel who had once served the Federation now prepared to fight for their lives. The pirates attacked without warning. Energy beams cut through space, lighting up the darkness with deadly colors. The handbox stream shook as enemy fire hit their shields. Return fire from their defense turrets reached out toward the attacking ships. They are targeting the escort vessels, reported the weapons officer. The Seoul's Pride and Pusan's Hope are taking heavy damage. On the screen, Dae-ho watched one of his escort ships explode in a ball of fire and metal. 40 good people died in that moment, people who had followed him into the unknown and trusted him to keep them safe. All ships, emergency hyperspace jump, he ordered. Coordinates 347.8 by 112.4. Sir, that takes us toward the terminus sector, warned the navigation officer. Those are quarantine zones, Deathworlds and failed colonies. Better to take our chances with Deathworlds than die here, Dae-ho replied. The surviving ships jumped into hyperspace, leaving the pirates behind. But they also left behind the Seoul's Pride and everyone aboard her. That night, Dr. So-jin worked late in her small office, writing in what she called the Chronicle of the Cast Out. She wrote about the people they had lost, the children who asked why they could not go home, the adults who tried to stay strong while their world fell apart around them. Day 184 since exile, she wrote. We lost another ship today. The Federation's campaign against us is working. No civilized world will take us in. We are running out of fuel, food, and hope. The irony is bitter. They called us too dangerous to live among them, but we are dying not from our strength but from our isolation. She paused and looked out her small window at the stars. Captain Dae-ho says we must keep moving toward the terminus sector. The maps show worlds marked as quarantine zones and death world classification. Perhaps that is where we belong now. Among the other things, the galaxy is thrown away. 3 days later, their sensors picked up something strange. Energy readings from a system that should have been dead according to all the star charts. The signatures did not match any known Federation technology. Unknown energy patterns, reported the sensor operator. Very organized, very powerful. There are definitely intelligent beings in this system. Could be a trap, warned Jae-sung. Or, it could be hope, said Dae-ho. Signal the fleet. We investigate, but carefully. If these are more enemies, we run. If they might be friends. He did not finish the sentence, but everyone understood. After 6 months of running and hiding, maybe they had finally found someone who would not turn them away. The Korean fleet moved toward the strange energy signatures, not knowing they were about to meet the other outcasts of the galaxy. The first human ships appeared on their sensors like ghosts materializing from empty space. Admiral Wang Jin-soo commanded the patrol fleet from his flagship, the Terra's Defiance. His bridge crew watched the approaching Korean vessels with tense faces and ready weapons. Unknown fleet, this is Admiral Wang of the Terran Defense Force. His voice crackled across space. You are entering restricted space. State your business immediately. Captain Dae-ho stared at the human ships on his main screen. They looked nothing like Federation vessels. These ships were built for war, covered in armor plating and bristling with weapons. But something about the design felt familiar, like looking at a distant cousin. Admiral Wang, this is Captain Lee Dae-ho of the Korean Colonial Union. We seek sanctuary. We have been cast out by the Galactic Federation and have nowhere else to go. Silence stretched across the void for long minutes. On the human flagship, Admiral Wang turned to his second-in-command, Commander Park Min-ho. Both men shared Korean ancestry, though their families had been living among humans for generations. Sir, said Park Min-ho quietly, they are speaking Korean. Real Korean, not the trade language version. I noticed, Wang replied, but that does not mean we can trust them. The Federation has tried to infiltrate us before. Dr. Lim Hai-wan, the fleet's xenobiologist, studied the sensor readings of the Korean ships. "Admiral, these vessels show signs of long-term deep space travel, rationed power consumption, overworked engines, emergency repairs. If this is a Federation trick, they have gone to extreme lengths to make it believable." General Seo Jun-ki joined them on the bridge. His scarred face and missing left arm told the story of humanity's violent ejection from galactic society 2 centuries ago. "What do we know about these Koreans?" "Very little," admitted Wang. "They appeared in Federation space about 200 years ago, claiming to be refugees from a destroyed world called Earth. The Federation accepted them as members and gave them colony rights." "Earth?" Jun-ki's eyes widened. "Our Earth?" "Unknown. Many worlds have been called Earth by human colonists." On the Korean flagship, tension filled the bridge as human patrol ships surrounded them. Engineer Kang Hyo-jin worked frantically to keep their failing systems online while they waited for the humans to decide their fate. "Captain," called Communications Officer Bae Sung-min, "the humans are requesting permission to board. They want to verify our identity." "Granted," Daeho said immediately, "but keep our weapons powered down. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already." The human boarding party consisted of 6 people in combat armor led by Commander Park Min-ho. As they entered the Korean ship's docking bay, both groups studied each other with curious eyes. The humans were surprised by how familiar the Koreans looked. The same basic facial features, the same general body structure. Dr. So-jin met them at the airlock. "Welcome aboard the Handbox Dream. I am Dr. Park So-jin, Chief Medical Officer." "Commander." Park tilted his head. "Your name?" "Park is a Korean family name." "Yes. From old Earth before the Great Evacuation." The humans exchanged glances. Park spoke carefully. "What evacuation?" "When Earth's environment collapsed in 2156, the great ships carried our people to the stars." "Did your people not come from Earth as well?" "We never left Earth," Park said slowly. "We are still there." The revelation hit both sides like a physical blow. Dr. So-jin staggered backward. "Earth still exists? Our homeworld is alive?" "Very much alive," Park replied. "And you are the lost colonies, the ships that left during the environmental crisis. We wondered what happened to you." In the Human Fleet Command Center, Admiral Wang received the boarding party's report with growing amazement. "They are definitely Korean," Park reported over the comm. "Not just ethnically, but culturally. They speak the language exactly as our historical records show it was spoken centuries ago. And they claim to be from Earth? They have genetic markers that match our databases perfectly." "Sir, these people are our long-lost cousins." General Jun-ki leaned forward. "Admiral, we need to hear their full story. If the Federation cast them out, they did to them what they did to us," Wang finished. "Bring Captain Lee over to our ship. Full honors." When Captain Daeho arrived on the Terra's Defiance, he found himself in a conference room facing 3 humans whose names and faces would have been familiar on ancient Earth. Admiral Wang's family had served in the Korean military for 10 generations. General Jun-ki's ancestor had been a famous engineer. Dr. Lim had descended from a line of doctors and scientists. "Tell us your story," Wang said simply. Daeho began with the evacuation ships that had left a dying Earth, carrying desperate refugees to the stars. He told of 2 centuries of building new homes on alien worlds, of joining the Federation, and trying to find a place among the galactic community. "We became farmers and traders," he explained. "We terraformed difficult worlds because we had to. When the Federation said a planet was too dangerous, we made it work anyway. When pirates attacked our settlements, we fought back because no one else would help us. And they cast you out for being too successful," General Jun-ki said with bitter understanding. "They said we were too violent, too aggressive, too dangerous. Sound familiar?" Wang nodded grimly. "Earth was expelled from the Federation in 2187 for winning 3 defensive wars. They said humans were too warlike to remain in civilized space." 3 defensive wars? The Velthari tried to invade us in 2184. We destroyed their entire fleet in 6 hours. After that, 2 other species decided to test our defenses. We made examples of them too. Dr. Lim spoke up. The Federation fears Deathworlders, species that evolved on dangerous planets. Earth qualifies because of its weather, geological instability, and aggressive life forms. I assume your colonies were established on similar worlds? We had no choice. The Federation only gave us the planets no one else wanted, and you made them work anyway, Wang said with growing respect. Just like us. The meeting continued for hours. Both sides shared their histories, their struggles, their bitter experiences with galactic civilization. They discovered that humanity had not been idle during their exile. Earth's solar system now housed over 20 billion people across dozens of space habitats. Human technology had advanced beyond Federation standards in many areas. We have 12 colony systems, Wang explained, all in what the Federation calls the dead zone, space too dangerous for civilized species. We have learned to thrive where others fear to go. And now? Asked Deho. What happens to my people? Admiral Wang looked at his colleagues, then back at the Korean captain. You go home to Earth if you want, or to one of our colonies. We take care of our own. For the first time in months, Captain Deho felt tears in his eyes. We have 50,000 people, and we have room for 50 million, General Junki said firmly. Welcome home, cousin. The news spread through both fleets quickly. On the queue, Korean ships, people wept with relief. On the human vessels, crews volunteered to share their supplies with their newly discovered relatives. That night, as the combined fleet prepared to jump toward Earth, Dr. Sojin added a new entry to her chronicle. Day 198 since exile. We have found them. The humans of Earth, our brothers and sisters who stayed behind when we fled to the stars. They did not abandon the homeworld. They made it strong, and now they welcome us back with open arms. Perhaps this is how family is supposed to work, taking care of each other when the rest of the world turns away. 2 years had passed since the Koreans arrived at Earth, and Colonial Governor Ryu Subin could hardly believe what they had built together. She stood on the observation deck of New Terra Station, watching ships move between the planet below and the orbital platforms above. Korean transport vessels worked alongside human cargo haulers, their crews mixing freely on the docks. The morning production reports. Her assistant handed her a data tablet. The numbers were incredible. Food production was up 40% since the Koreans had introduced their advanced farming methods. Human industrial capacity had increased by 30% as Korean engineering efficiency improved their manufacturing processes. Most amazing of all, they had established 3 new colonies in just 2 years, worlds that neither species could have tackled alone. Chief Engineer No Dong-wook walked into the observation lounge, his hands stained with the metallic dust that came from working on the new hybrid technologies. Governor, the shipyard reports are ready. She looked at the data with satisfaction. The orbital shipyards now produced vessels that combined the best of both cultures. Korean precision engineering merged with human adaptability created ships that could survive anything. The hulls were stronger, the life support systems more efficient, and the navigation computers faster than anything the Federation had ever built. How many ships will be ready for the defense fleet? She asked. 12 new vessels by month's end, each one equipped with the hybrid weapon systems. The weapons were a perfect example of their cooperation. Korean targeting systems guided human-designed energy cannons with devastating accuracy. The combination had proven itself in 3 skirmishes with pirate fleets. Each time, the attackers had fled after losing half their ships in minutes. In the cultural center of New Terra Colony, Imbora documented the new society taking shape around them. Her job as cultural liaison had evolved into something like a historian and anthropologist. She interviewed families where Korean grandparents taught traditional farming methods to human children, while human engineers showed Korean teenagers how to repair spacecraft engines. The language mixing is fascinating, she told her recording device. Korean technical terms now appear in human engineering manuals. Human slang words have entered Korean conversation. The children who grow up here will speak a dialect that combines both languages naturally. She walked through the market district, where Korean food stalls stood next to human restaurants. The smell of kimchi mixed with the aroma of human barbecue. Children ran between the booths playing games that combined elements from both cultures, but not everything was peaceful. Military strategist Oh Jin worked long hours in the Defense Planning Center, studying intelligence reports that came from deep space monitoring stations. The news was troubling. "They are asking questions," she reported to the Joint Command Staff. "Federation intelligence ships have been spotted in 6 different systems, all asking about our activities." Admiral Wang leaned forward over the tactical display. "What kind of questions?" "Ship movements, population counts, industrial capacity. They know we are growing stronger." General Junki pointed to markers on the star map. "These monitoring posts they have established. They form a rough circle around our territory. A blockade pattern," Jin confirmed. "They are preparing for something?" Captain Daeho, now serving as senior advisor to the Joint Command, studied the intelligence reports with growing concern. "I have seen this before. Right before they expelled us from the Federation, they spent months gathering intelligence about Korean activities." "What are you thinking?" asked Wang. "They fear us. The Federation works by keeping everyone weak and dependent on their central authority. But we are proving that outcasts can build something better than what they offer." The proof came 3 weeks later when a battered transport ship arrived at New Terra Station. The crew was exhausted and frightened, speaking a language that took the computers several hours to translate. They were members of the Maasai Nation, descendants of Earth's African peoples who had established colonies in the Centauri sector. Cast out, their leader, a tall woman named Sankali, explained through the translation system. "Federation said we were too tribal, too violent. Same words they used for you." Dr. Lim examined the refugees and found the same signs they had seen in the Korean fleet 2 years earlier: malnutrition, stress, the look of people who had been running for months with nowhere to go. "How many of you are there?" asked Governor Ryu. 12 ships, 30,000 people. More scattered across the galaxy looking for safe harbor. The joint council meeting that night lasted until dawn. Representatives from both human and Korean colonies debated the request for sanctuary. Some worried about resources, others about attracting Federation attention. But in the end, the vote was unanimous. "We were strangers when the humans took us in," Daeho reminded the council. "How can we do less for others in the same situation?" Within a month, 2 more refugee groups had arrived. The Aboriginal Australian Void Runners brought their expertise in asteroid mining and zero-gravity construction. A group of human colonists from the Tau Ceti system had been expelled for excessive technological development. They had invented faster-than-light communication methods that threatened Federation control of information. Each group brought new skills and knowledge. The Maasai were experts in sustainable development and had advanced medical knowledge. The Australian mining techniques increased resource extraction by 50%. The Tau Ceti communication systems allowed instant coordination across multiple star systems. "We are becoming something the galaxy has never seen," Imbora wrote in her cultural reports. "Not just a collection of refugee species, but a true alliance. Each group contributes what they do best, and everyone benefits." The formal signing of the Deathworld Compact took place on Earth, in the rebuilt United Nations building in New York. Representatives from 7 different human ethnic groups and 3 alien refugee species put their names to a document that would reshape galactic politics. "We, the undersigned peoples rejected by the Galactic Federation for the crime of being too strong, too successful, or too different, hereby form an alliance for mutual protection and prosperity," Captain Daeho read from the historic document. "We pledge to defend each other against all enemies, to share our knowledge and resources freely, and to offer sanctuary to any people cast out by those who call themselves civilized." Governor Ryu signed for the Korean colonies. Admiral Wang signed for humanity. Sankale signed for the Maasai Nation. One by one, the other representatives added their signatures. But even as they celebrated, the intelligence reports grew more alarming. Federation fleet movement suggested massive military preparations. Coded transmissions spoke of a final solution to the Deathworlder problem. They are planning something big, Jin reported to the compact leadership. Fleet, concentrations in 12 systems. At least 300 ships massing for coordinated action. When? Asked Admiral Wang. Soon. Maybe weeks, maybe days. Captain Deho looked around the table at the representatives of the Deathworld Compact. 2 years ago, they had all been scattered refugees with nowhere to go. Now they were the foundation of something that threatened the Federation's entire way of life. Let them come, he said quietly. We are not the same people they cast out. We are stronger now. We are together. Outside the conference room windows, the lights of New Terra Colony sparkled in the darkness. In orbit above, the shipyards worked around the clock, building vessels designed for war. Across 7 star systems, the outcasts of the galaxy prepared to show their former oppressors what Deathworlders could accomplish when they stood united. Fleet Admiral Kang Hyojin stood on the bridge of the New Sol, the flagship of the Deathworld Compact Defense Fleet. At 37, she was the youngest admiral in the Alliance, but her tactical genius had proven itself in a dozen battles against pirates and raiders. Today would be the greatest test of her career. Federation fleet dropping out of hyperspace, reported the sensor operator. Estimated strength, 400 vessels. The main screen filled with red dots as the massive Federation armada materialized around New Terra. At the center of the formation flew the golden flagship of Admiral Tolvash, the same Velthari commander who had started this war by demanding Korean expulsion 3 years ago. Send the message, Hyojin ordered calmly. Across all communication frequencies, her words reached every ship in both fleets. Federation forces, you are in violation of compact territory. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Admiral Tolvash's reply came quickly, his translated voice dripping with contempt. Deathworlder fleet, you will surrender unconditionally. Your illegal alliance ends today. The galaxy will not tolerate this threat to civilized order. On the surface of New Terra, Ground Commander An Woo-jin coordinated planetary defenses that combined technologies from 7 different species. Korean precision-guided human weapons. Maasai environmental expertise had hidden gun positions in natural terrain features. Australian mining techniques had created underground bunker complexes that could survive orbital bombardment. All defensive positions report ready, he told the command center. If they try to land troops, we will show them what happens when Deathworlders defend their homes. In the orbital battle, the Federation expected an easy victory. Their intelligence reports had counted compact ships and estimated their capabilities based on outdated Federation technology. What they found instead defied all their expectations. The first Federation attack wave of 50 ships encountered 12 compact vessels that should have been overwhelmed immediately. Instead, the Korean-designed targeting systems guided human, energy weapons with surgical precision. Half the attacking ships were destroyed in the first minute of combat. Impossible, Tolvash muttered as he watched his tactical display. How are they so accurate? His tactical officer studied the sensor readings with growing alarm. Sir, their ships are moving faster than our computers predicted. Their weapons are more powerful than our shields can handle. And their coordination? It is like they share a single mind. That coordination came from the Tau Ceti communication systems that allowed instant information sharing across the entire fleet. When one compact ship identified a Federation vessel's weakness, every other ship knew it immediately. When a Federation commander gave an order, compact forces intercepted and countered it before the enemy ships could respond. Tactical Officer Jong Ha-young managed the complex dance of multi-species battle coordination from her position aboard the flagship. Her screen showed the positions of ships crewed by humans, Koreans, Maasai warriors, Australian miners, and other refugee groups. Each crew fought with their own cultural strengths, but all served the same goal. Maasai Squadron, use your mobility. Advantage to flank the enemy left wing, she ordered. Australian miners, target their supply ships with precision strikes. Korean vessels, maintain formation and keep hitting their command ships. The Federation fleet began to break apart under the coordinated assault. Ships that had never lost, a battle found themselves outmatched by refugees they had dismissed as primitive Deathworlders. Panic spread through their ranks as vessel after vessel fell to weapons they did not understand, guided by tactics they could not predict. Admiral Tolvash tried to salvage the situation by ordering a desperate assault on the planet's surface. If we cannot defeat their fleet, we will destroy their colonies. Launch all ground assault craft. Hundreds of Federation landing craft descended toward New Terra, expecting to face poorly organized resistance. Instead, they flew into carefully prepared killing fields where every weapon position had been designed by people who understood how to survive in hostile environments. Ground Commander Wu Jin watched the landing craft approach on his tactical screens. "Wait for it," he told his mixed force of human Marines, Korean security troops, and Maasai warriors. "Let them commit to their landing zones." The Federation troops landed in areas that seemed strategically important, but turned out to be traps. Hidden weapon positions opened fire from unexpected angles. Mines exploded beneath vehicles that sensors had not detected. Worst of all, the defenders fought with a coordination and ferocity that no Federation army had ever encountered. "They fight like their lives depend on it," one surviving Federation officer would report later. No fear, no hesitation. When one position falls, 3 others immediately provide covering fire. When their wounded fall, they are rescued within minutes. It is like fighting a single organism with 10,000 bodies. In space, the battle turned into a rout. The Federation fleet that had arrived expecting easy victory found itself scattered and bleeding. Admiral Tolvash watched his proud armada being systematically destroyed by ships crewed by the same refugees he had dismissed as worthless Deathworlders. From his hospital bed on New Terra, the aging Captain Lee Dae-ho watched the battle through a communication link. Age and stress had finally caught up with him, but his mind remained sharp. When the tide of battle became clear, he asked for an open channel to broadcast to both fleets. "Admiral Tolvash," his voice carried across space with quiet authority. "You came here expecting to find scattered refugees begging for mercy. Instead, you found something you never bothered to understand. You cast us out to die. We learned to live instead." The Federation admiral's ship was surrounded now, his escort vessels destroyed or fleeing. You are still just Deathworlders. Primitives, from impossible worlds." "Yes," Dae-ho replied. "We are people who learned to grow food in poisoned soil. We are engineers who built cities on worlds that tried to kill us every day. We are soldiers who defended our homes when no one else would help us. You taught us that we were stronger than you thought. You were wrong about only one thing." "What?" "You assumed we would be stronger alone. We are stronger together." The Federation fleet began its retreat, leaving behind nearly half their ships. As the surviving vessels fled toward the hyperspace jump points, Admiral Tolvash sent one final transmission. "This is not over. The Federation will not tolerate this rebellion." Fleet Admiral Hyo Jin's reply was broadcast across the galaxy by captured Federation communication arrays. "Tell your Federation this. You made us outcasts. You taught us to survive without you. You showed us that we were better off on our own. Now the galaxy will see what happens when Deathworlders build something together." The victory at New Terra changed everything. Within months, other species began requesting membership in the Deathworld Compact. Some were refugees fleeing Federation persecution. Others were simply tired of living under the Federation's restrictive rules. The Compact welcomed them all, sharing technology and resources freely. 5 years later, Dr. Im Bora published her complete cultural study of the Compact Alliance. By then, they controlled over 100 star systems and protected nearly 50 different species. The Federation still existed, but its influence was shrinking as more worlds chose freedom over security. In her final report, she wrote, "The Federation created us by casting us out. They tried to destroy us because we proved that their way was not the only way. They called us dangerous Deathworlders, and they were right. We are dangerous to anyone who believes that strength comes from keeping others weak. The galaxy cast us out to die. Instead, we learned to live. And now we are teaching others that there is a better way than bowing to those who call themselves civilized. On New Terra, children played in parks where Korean rice grew alongside human vegetables and Maasai fruit trees. Above them, ships built by Australian miners carried goods produced by Tau Ceti technology. In schools, young voices spoke in mixed languages that combined words from a dozen different worlds. The outcasts had found each other, and together they had built something the galaxy had never seen before. A civilization based on inclusion rather than exclusion, on cooperation rather than domination. The Federation had taught them they were too dangerous to live among the civilized. They had been right, but not in the way they expected. The Deathworlders were dangerous to the old order because they offered something better, and the galaxy was taking notice.